Hey everyone, this is Nitro. In this video, I'm going to be doing the third challenge of the glorious Annals of Lodoss, Truth's Beckoning. So let's begin. Alright, so for the party I'm going to use a princess party because most of these characters should have been built for Ancient Beckoning, okay? So you want Narm with Deadeye, Snipe, and Roundabout. You're going to want Sophia, who brings Rewind, Mass Heal, and Strengthen. Shelfaniel will bring Goddess Glow, Cleanse, and Heaven Sanction. Luna will have Move Again, Wind God Realm, and Raging Thunder. And Liana will have Act Again, Prayer, and Summon Sky Archer. Okay. Finally, Tierras has Attack Blessing, Miracle, and Mass Heal. What you can change up for this party as well is if you do have a young Jessica built up, who can cleanse, Fireball, and Breath of the Goddess, she is great here because she can attack Ashram at 5 range, outside of his range entirely. So you can just have young Jessica set up here. She's going to get endlessly buffed by Elven Blessing, and she can endlessly launch out the long range attacks to take out Ashram. If you don't have young Jessica though, using Luna is perfectly fine. Although I will say that it becomes a bit more of a game of musical chairs, if you will, especially on the first 2 turns. So about this fight, the way it works is that Ashram has 3 skills. His talent buffs his stats by 10% every single turn, and he can get up to 4 stacks of this. So he will get up to 40% increase of all stats. So you want to do as much damage as possible early on. The Black Knight Raid skill applies a debuff on the target that is attacked by it, where they take 100% increased damage for 3 turns. It can be stacked, ignores immunity, and cannot be dispelled. Okay. Cleave will deal 0.3 times AoE damage to all enemies and allies from 2 blocks. Pretty typical AoE attack. And the Whirling Wind passive is quite annoying. Every 3 rounds, at the end of the round, you take 0.1 times AoE damage and to all enemies from 4 blocks of him, and it teleports the characters next to him. Then they get this debuff where after taking action, they lose 40% of their max hit points as damage to self and friendly units within 1 block. This effect ignores immunity, cannot be dispelled, and finally, they also get their mobility reduced by 3, and they cannot guard. So a whole bunch of really annoying debuffs on this Whirling Wind Blade, okay? Of note though, you can be immune to the mobility reduction and cannot guard reduction effect. So things like Sage's Hat, for example, can give you that immunity. Just something I want to mention. So it is possible to be immune to that. Last but not least, I should also talk about Carla the Grey Witch at the very back, because she is part of this fight as well, right? So Carla the Grey Witch is, you don't have to kill her, but she does have an impact on this battlefield because she has 3 skills. The first one, Decay, is map wide. She can launch a map wide 8 magic attack that does 0.3 times AoE damage to your party. It does not apply a cannot receive debuffs on you though, it's just AoE damage. The second effect, Dark Disciple, is that every 2 rounds, at the start of a round, you grant 1 friendly unit minus 200% damage reduction for 2 turns. So this effect, Dark Disciple, is what makes Ashram immune to damage unless you have Deedlet's Elven Blessing on a character who attacks Ashram. So every other turn you're going to need the attack from one of your characters to remove that. And finally, there's also this Ancient Treasure effect where at the start of each round, Carla empowers 1 Ancient Treasure, granting friendly units 1 buff effect, and it cannot be dispelled. So there's various effects like the True Sight Mirror. There is, let's say, Crown of Knowledge, right? And Scepter of Domination. So True Sight Mirror effect is if you damage a character, their damage dealt is reduced by 80%, cannot be dispelled, ignores immunity, right? And lasts 1 turn. And that's actively dealing damage. So AoE attacks don't seem to apply, I believe. It has to be single target strikes. The second effect, Crown of Knowledge, is that after taking action, silences all enemies within attack range. And the third effect, Scepter of Domination, is that when taking action, you deal 1.5 times attack as fixed damage to all enemies. This effect lasts 1 turn. So it's a random buff. You don't know what buff is going to be applied onto your and what effect will hit your characters, but mostly though it can be neglected with this party because you have 3 healers. Okay. With Tiaris, Sophia, and Liana, you can remove all those debuffs. The only one that I think you can't remove is the True Sight Mirror debuff, right? But since True Sight Mirror requires Ashram to actively deal damage, you can mitigate its effect pretty well. Okay. Alright, so with all that said, I'm ready to get started with this fight. So let's begin. So, and turn on Danger Zone. So my initial move is to maximize the damage I can do to Ashram, right? So I'm going to start with an attack blessing on Narm to start everything off. Okay. Shelfaniel is just going to faction buff up my characters for maximum damage output at the start. And let's have Narm move in and Deadeye Ashram right away. And then get to back off. So, next, I'm going to have Liana act again my Narm to get a second attack in. And let's send Narm in and have her attack again. So there we go. And then I'm going to have Luna run forward. Wind God Realm, and then Raging Thunder against Ashram. And just end turn here. And finally, not much for Sophia to do, but I can choose to have her rewind right away if I so wish. But the problem with that is the rewind won't hit Tiaris, so I'm just going to wait there. So let's just end the turn. An Elven Blessing is applied onto Tiaris at the start. So my back characters who are close together get hit by the DK. And here, Ashram used Cleave, which does basically an AoE hit on my characters. And now it's turn 2. So, that AoE hit does apply mobility -3. Okay, I can move Narm because she activated Breeze. But assuming you didn't activate Breeze, you'll have to adjust for that. So what I will do is, why don't I summon the Sky Archer with Liana and have her dispel these two. So that will remove that mobility debuff so that my characters can move. Alright, next, I'm not afraid to charge in with everyone right now, because, and what I'm going to do is, I'm going to need Tiaris to range attack Ashram. Because Ashram, after turn 1, gets this effect of damage taken is decreased by 200%. But the buff from Pirotess, the Elven Blessing buff, basically removes it. Okay? So, since Tiaris was the only one in range to get this buff, right? She's going to attack. And to do so, I just want to try to make it possible for Narm to get Healing Light if possible. So let's actually have Tiaris melee attack here. Right? It's purely to get the Elven Blessing effect, so it makes sense. Right? And then what I'm going to do is Shelfaniel. Oh, sorry. I'm going to send everyone in. So Sophia jumps in and uses Rewind to heal up everyone and refresh skills. And then that way, Narm can start retreating back while sniping Ashram. After Narm's attack, I'm going to retreat Narm over here so that she's away from everyone else and won't damage anyone with the Wind Blade. And then Luna is going to wrap around and use her Raging Thunder away from everyone else, so once again she's not damaging anyone else with the Wind Blade. Perfect. And then finally I'm going to have Shelfaniel just faction buff up behind everyone else and get Elven Blessing from Pirotess. So Black Knight Raid is used to kill my Luna now. Get hit by this Ancient Treasure, and Scepter of Domination does fixed damage to my party. Of note, I have Meditation Rings on both Liana and Shelfaniel, so they don't take any fixed damage, as a side note. So now, on this turn, I'm just going to have... I'm going to sacrifice the Sky Archer. So let's just... I don't know. Dispel to heal up a bit. And... Liana is going to move back and prayer up my characters that were damaged. So there we go. So I'm going to have Narm launch her Deadeye attack now. And then Tieris can just attack Blessing Narm. And finally, I'm just gonna move Sophia back. Right. Whatever. Mastiel is fine too. And Sophia is just going to wait. I mean, I can have her Heaven Sanction for a tiny bit of damage. Doesn't really matter. Point is, she gets Elven Blessing again. So Decay is used on my back characters because there's a huge group of them. Right? Sky Archer is killed by Ashram. And now, once again, there is the damage taken is decreased by 200% effect. So I need Shelfaniel to charge in and attack, is what this means. But, you know, well, let's miracle up the back group that got AoE'd first. Okay? And Healing Lights Mark. So then Shelfaniel is going to charge forward and use the Cleanse attack to remove that buff from Ashram. And let's have Narn attack Ashram. Roundabout back. Right? Get Liana's act again here. And then get a second attack. With Snipe. And with that, Ashram is killed. So there you have it. Pretty straightforward. Thanks for watching, everyone. Nitro out.